In this video, we're going to talk about the match function and the index function, and then talk about how these two functions can be used together to perform lookups. Now, you may be familiar with the VLOOKUP function. Using index and match together, you can do lookups just like you can with the VLOOKUP function, except for this combination is actually better. It has several advantages over using VLOOKUP. So let's first talk about the functions individually. The match function takes a lookup value and returns the position of that lookup value in an array or list of values. So for example, if we wanted to find out what position the letter D was in this list of letters over here, we can use the match function. Equals match. The lookup value is the D over here, comma, and the lookup array is this group of letters, comma, and then we can do a less than match, an exact match, or a greater than match. I want to do an exact match, so I put 0 as the last parameter. So that's how match works. Now it returns 4. That's the position of D in this array of letters. The index function does just the opposite. You give it a position, and it tells you what value is at that position in the array. So let's try it. Let's look at position 4 and find out what's there. Equals index, and index into what array? This array over here, comma, and what row number do we want, or what position number? Position 4. Now you'll notice that index can do two-dimensional lookups. If we also give it a column number, it'll find the row and the column specified. But in this one, we just have a row. So the fourth position in the list is the letter D. Okay, that's how these two functions work individually. The real power is using them together to do a lookup. So here we have a table with ID numbers, and each of those ID numbers has an age, a height, a weight, and so on. We can use index and match together to do lookups, just like a VLOOKUP, but better. So first, let's look up the height for ID number 169 with the VLOOKUP. So equals VLOOKUP. First, we give it the lookup value, comma, and then the lookup table, which is this whole table here, comma. If we find the lookup value, we want to return the height, which is in column 3. So we enter a 3 next, comma, and then give it the false parameter to tell it to do an exact match lookup. And there we have the height of ID number 169 is 68 inches. Okay, that works. We can do this same lookup with an index and match combination. So we go equals index. We want an index into the height column. Which number do we want from the height column? We want the one that's in the same position as this ID number 169 is in the ID number column. So we use a match to get that position. Match. Lookup value is 169, comma. The lookup array is the ID numbers, comma, and we use 0 for exact match. Close the parentheses for the match function, close the parentheses for the index function. And we get the same thing. Height is 68. Except for instead of using a VLOOKUP, we used an index and a match combination. Now why did I say index match is better than VLOOKUP? Here, let me show you a few reasons why. First, what if we end up adding a column to our data? So instead of ID number, I've got age, height, weight. I want to add first name and last name. So I just insert 2 columns here. Look what happened. The VLOOKUP no longer works because it's looking for the third column in the lookup table. The third column now holds nothing, but the index match still works. because we were only looking at the two columns that were relevant to our lookup. We were looking at the ID number column and the height column. So that's the first advantage for index match as a lookup. It's more robust to changes in the structure of the lookup data table. Here's another reason. Have you ever had data that had the lookup value to the right? If the lookup value to the right is to the right of the things you're trying to look up, you can't use a VLOOKUP. And you can only use a lookup in that situation if the ID number column is sorted. So here you can't even do a lookup, but you can still do an index match. Equals index into the height column, comma, and what position do we want? Well, we want the same position that ID number 169 is in the ID number column. So we use a match to get that. Match this value, comma, in this array, comma, 0 for exact match, close the parentheses for match, close the parentheses for index, and we've got it. Okay, so there's two advantages. The third advantage is that an index match combination can do a two-dimensional lookup, which a VLOOKUP can't do. So for example, if I have product ID B4456 and region East, and I want to look up the unit price. So if I look over here, product ID B4456 in the East region, I should get a unit price of $4.15. How would I look that up? Recall that index can be given a row and a column. So let's use the index function. Equals index. I'm going to take an index into what array? This array, comma, what row do I want? Well, the row number will be the same row number that the product ID is in. So that I'll use a match for the row number. I'm going to match this product ID, comma, in the array of product IDs, comma, exact match. Close that parentheses. That gives me the row number. I'll put another comma. For the column number, I'm going to do another match. I'm going to match the region, comma, in this array to get the position of the region, and do another exact match. Close the parentheses on the index. There we have the unit price of $4.15 for product ID B4456 in the East region. And there's the formula again. So that's a quick example of the index function, the match function, and how they can be used together to do lookups.